Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for our quickfire session about authenticity in the classroom. Quick introduction, my name's Jess, I'm marketing manager here at This Is School, and I'm joined today by my colleague Caitlin, who's one of our new business managers. Caitlin will be taking over shortly to show you exactly how authenticity is embedded into This Is School as a platform, and we'll both be available in chat and Q&A as we go if you've got any questions. I'm just going to run through a little bit of housekeeping. So while I do that, if you're logged in and you can see the chat box, please do post where you're tuning in from today. It's always really interesting to see where everyone's kind of coming from. Onto the housekeeping, this is probably all very familiar for anyone who's ever been on a webinar in the past 4 years. But as a reminder, your cameras and microphones are off as attendees. So you can kind of go on about your day, but please do utilize the chat and Q&A. Like I say, if you do have any questions that come up, either about authenticity as a topic or, of course, This Is School as a platform, this is very much an open forum if you do have any general questions or would like to know a little bit more about working with us. We are recording today's session, so that will be sent out shortly after we've been live. And again, we have dedicated time at the end for questions. So as they come through, I'll just be keeping an eye on those. And then once Caitlin's kind of done with our platform tour, we'll circle back to those. So that's enough from me, little whistle stop introduction. So I will pass on to Caitlin to do the rest of the introduction.
Thanks so much for that, Jess. So yes, here we will see what we're going to be covering in today's session. So that includes an introduction to This Is School, for those of you who might not be familiar with our site at all. We'll talk about what we mean by authenticity. You'll hear us throw that word around a lot. So what does it really mean? What it looks like across the different subjects that This Is School offers. So that includes MFL, geography, and science. And then also why authenticity matters in our subjects and our classrooms. And of course, as Jess mentioned, there's going to be a Q&A time at the end too. So let's start at the very beginning. What is This Is School? We launched in 2011, initially as This Is Language, but the platform relaunched as This Is School last year in 2023. And that was a reflection of our belief about authentic content and resources, especially the ones that we've pioneered in languages, but now applying that to a wide range of subjects. So we now offer French, Spanish, German, Italian, Mandarin, geography, and sciences. And as a platform and as an organization, we're really focusing on, like you'll see here, these 3 points about driving student progress, elevating your resources, and inspiring a global perspective across our subjects. This Is School is very much an all-in-one platform, meaning that you'll be able to find everything that you need to teach your subject all in one place, including videos, interactive exercises, student monitoring and progress trackers. There's textbook guides on there, and there's also printable resources, which are great if you want to take a lesson or two offline while still kind of tapping into the fantastic range of resources that we have on the site. So This Is School also is cloud-based. So that means there's no additional installation that needs to happen. And every subscription comes with personalized discoveries and success plans with continued support from real life humans like me. Throughout your time with us, you're interacting with real people that can always provide tips and hints and help to make sure that you and your students are maximizing your time on This Is School and really seeing measurable results. We also do offer a free trial. It's 14 days, and you can choose when you want that trial to start. So pick a time that suits you and your lesson planning. And you can, after this session, make that request on our website. Jess will show you how to do that, I think, at the end. But basically, underpinning everything that we do at This Is School is our commitment to the power of authentic resources and how they really remove barriers to learning And that's the core theme of today's session.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Caitlin. I always love that introduction. I think there's just so much that we could go on about there, but nice and concise. So exciting. So of course, the big question today that we're kind of covering and starting discussions around, because like I say, we could go on for days really. Authenticity is such a key part of what we do here at This Is School, is to question and answer what exactly do we mean? When we use that word, like Caitlin said, we do use it a lot as an organization and as a platform, but what do we mean when we talk about it? So we believe that authenticity in learning resources is about the approach of immersing a learner in genuine experiences that go beyond the textbook and truly bring the real world into the classroom. For us, and something that we'll go into in a little bit more detail as we go on, this means real world speakers across all of our subjects that students can listen and learn from. So for languages, very much native speakers from around different areas of the globe, and in geography and sciences as well, peer explanation. So students still have that access to people who look like them, talk like them, act like them, are a similar age, and that they can learn directly from them, which, as we will touch on towards the end of this webinar, can make all the difference for engagement. Authenticity for This Is School has always been a number one, day one priority, starting from the days of company's inception. So our founder, George, who was a language teacher at the time, he asked his students during a trip to France to go and speak to native speakers, and the students all reported back that they didn't understand what was coming back at them. They didn't understand the language because it didn't sound like what was on the tapes and in the textbooks. We then went on and used that as kind of the impetus to start interviewing hundreds of young native speakers and filming their responses without scripts to expose students to real life language. Now, we know there can be a number of obstacles in the way of using authentic resources in the classroom, something we've very much learned firsthand through our teaching community. It's not enough to find a video. We know that, right? It can take forever to find the video, and then you have to build out exercises, you have to find your supporting materials that reflect your learning curriculum, you have to make sure things are age and level appropriate, which is a really time-heavy task in a world where you're already under so much pressure, time pressure, as a teacher, and already there's so much on your plate, which is exactly why This Is School's content is designed not only to provide the unscripted answers in the videos, but everything has supporting activities and engaging exercises that students can complete to enhance their comprehension and understanding and really make that real world experience part of their education. So I'll pass over to Caitlin now to show you exactly what I would mean by that across our subject areas.
Thanks so much, Jess. I'm just going to share my screen now to actually show you the platform. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. Yes, Jess?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So this is us. This is school. And I'm going to go in and show you some of the examples of what we're talking about, right? These real world videos. But just so that you can get an idea of what's on the site, for languages, there are over 12,500 videos, again, by native speakers talking about their life and culture. For sciences, over 2,000 videos, and there's such a variety in those videos. And with geography, there's 30 videos and different types of videos. We'll show you some examples of the explainer videos and also those peer-to-peer learning videos. What makes them unique, as Jess mentioned, is they all feature young people in real world settings, talking in a way that's unscripted, natural, right? From their own brain, their own thinking. And this really helps to boost student engagement and the motivation to learn. So I wanted to start with our language subjects, and I put it on French as an example. And this is kind of what the interface looks like. You'll see that there are a lot of choices for you, quite endless in a good way for all the things that you can teach and use with This Is School. But I'm just going to go to the listening videos as the example now. And with the listening videos, there's 3 different ways that you can navigate the real world speaker videos in order to find the most relevant ones for your classes. So the first one you'll see up here is just using the search bar at the top of the screen. You can input what you want, find topics and themes that are relevant to your curriculum. You can even filter that search if you want to look specifically for videos, vocab, grammar, anything like that. The second way you'll see here, you can navigate by general themes, or we also have novice compilations. These are really good for your beginners. Again, these videos feature multiple speakers. They speak really slowly. They use easy vocabulary, and they also repeat themselves. So if you are someone who has beginner level students, definitely check out the novice compilations. The other way that you can find relevant videos is by looking at various curriculum preferences, and you can navigate. So you'll see examples, including the new AQA GCSE and new Edexcel GCSE. I know some of you teachers watching, we're going to be asking about that. So yes, we do have the new specifications on here. And just to kind of show you an example too, besides these three ways that you can search for the videos, at the top you'll see filters. You can also sort by difficulty level. So this is really helpful. We sort these based on the content of the videos, and they're displayed by colored stars that are underneath each clip. So if you always teach a certain age group or certain level and you only want to see videos catered to that, again, you can filter it by difficulty or even by particular exercises you want the students to complete. So just to show you an example, why don't we go to the new AQA GCSE? And you'll recognize the three themes. You'll see the topics underneath once you click on it. So I'll show you an example for topic 1, topic 2, topic 3. And also, look at the amount of videos. No shortage here. So under the first one, you'll see the question that was asked of the native speaker and the amount of videos for that question. So what's nice is you'll see where the speaker is from. There's that difficulty rating that we were talking about for each clip. So again, this is not how many people like the video. This is going to be for beginners. But when I scroll down, you can see that same question for intermediate up to more advanced levels. These icons here indicate the exercises that are attached to each of the videos. So you'll see that each of them have scaffolded exercises for the students to complete. So something that is extra special with our real-world speaking videos for language learners is the wide range of accents and cultures that your students are gaining exposure to. And it's really taking learning beyond the academic measures, but really helping them to instill a much deeper understanding and appreciation for world languages and how it's actually spoken, right? How it's actually used. So for French, you will see a variety of accents. Right here, you can see some of our videos from France, but we also have videos from Canada, Cameroon, and Belgium for French. For Spanish, you'll see, again, a variety of accents and locations featured, including Colombia, Mexico, Spain, Venezuela. For German, you'll see speakers from Germany and Austria. And then for Italy, you'll see obviously speakers from Italy, but we also do have videos from Sicily as well, because we know it's quite a unique accent to share with students. So as Jess mentioned, these videos are all supported by these interactive exercises that are listed here. What's great is they are automatically marked, so it saves you a lot of time. And students complete them in order, so they are gradually building their confidence with the content of the video. These icons are color-coded so that you'll start to recognize what the different exercises are. The very first one is the jigsaw. Then we have the video vocab. Next is the gap fill. And then last is the comprehension, again, where they demonstrate mastery over the content of that video. To maximize the impact of these videos and really cement your students' understanding across language context, spelling, pronunciation, we've really broken down these exercises so that students can get the most benefit out of it. So that's just a quick example. I would love to play one of these videos for you, but just because of time, I won't be able to do that. But what we can do, because we're going to be sending the recording of this webinar anyway, we can include some examples of the videos because I know you'll be eager to see what they're like. So we'll share that in the recording for you to review in your own time. But for now, I want to go in and show you another subject. So I can switch it up here. I'm on French under the languages, but I want to show you about geography. And you'll notice with geography and science, they also feature our real world authentic videos. And many people are surprised by that with these subjects. They think, how can you include that? How can you have that? So I want to show you how we've incorporated, again, authenticity into both of these subjects. So the way that you navigate geography is a little bit different. Just as an example, you'll see the specs up here. So I'm going to go to AQA GCSE. And you'll see the content is all curriculum aligned exactly as to the topics and themes that you're already using in your class. I'll go to living with the physical environment as an example. You'll see the 3 subsections underneath that. We'll continue with the challenge of natural hazards. And then, let's just go to natural hazards. And we'll go to the first one here, natural hazards, giving the definition and types. So with this section, you'll see an example of a variety of tools actually that are available to you. So first here we have our popular explainer videos, and we also have our peer-to-peer learning videos. There's 2 examples here. And then included as well, we have our graphics and pictures that also support the video content. So what will you see with these videos? The explainer video goes through and introduces the topic, right? It uses the terminology that you want your students to learn and be able to confidently use. The peer-to-peer learning videos show someone relatively close to their age explaining that topic in a different way. Again, using their own words, showing how they've understood it and being able to communicate that in a way that your students can then learn how they can articulate this terminology themselves. So we recommend a number of different ways that you can use these real-world videos for your classes. One of the ways is that you can watch the video as a class to introduce a unit, and you could ask questions like, for example, with this one, because there's 2 speakers, right? You could ask your students, well, do they agree on the answer? Who do you think is right? Is there anything surprising in their answers? Or what questions do you have after watching these videos and listening to their answers? Some teachers also like to use the videos as a roundup to the unit. So that way students can demonstrate how their understanding has progressed. And you could ask them questions like, is there anything missing from the speaker's answer? Are there examples that they provided that you think are great? Or are there examples that could be more up to date that they could provide? Can you give definitions of the terminology that they're using? These are just some examples of questions. Again, you can kind of differentiate it and use it with your classes how you want. But you'll notice that the videos, again, give you that flexibility and that freedom to do what's going to be best for your class. Also on the side here, you'll see our scaffolded exercises. They can be assigned to the student to kind of move through at their own pace. And you'll see after the explanation, the exercises start. So on this one, we have labeling, sorting, gap fill, and comprehension. These are automatically marked, so students can review and revise their own answers, which is great. And they can better recognize and identify their own knowledge gaps, so they know, okay, this is an area that I need to study further or this is an area that I need to ask my teacher about. You'll also be able to support them through this through student assignment overviews, where you can identify the areas that you see a lot of students may be struggling with. This will be shown through the low marks or through multiple attempts needed, maybe a second attempt or a longer time taken. What's nice is all of that is tracked for you on the back end when you go to your class. So you'll be able to easily see what your students are understanding and what they might need help with. So again, this was just a quick example to show you some of the things that are on here. I won't have time to go through sciences to show you any of that, but you get the idea of how we incorporate our real world videos into various subjects. So I think what I'll do now is stop sharing, Jess, just so that we can go back to this idea of why authenticity is so important. I'd like to share that specifically with the group. Oh, thanks so much. So with this idea of why authenticity is important, we've broken it down basically into 3 main categories as to why, and you'll see them on here. So the first one, linguistic impact. You can use authentic materials in all subject areas, and that really helps to enhance student ability when it comes to linguistics in languages, when it comes to using the correct terminology in geography and science, really helping them to boost their vocabulary well beyond the textbook, and feel more confident, right, in using the language they need. There's also the cultural impact. So authentic learning resources help to broaden student horizons, right? It builds cultural awareness and cultural capital. For languages, this may look like immersing students in backgrounds and a range of accents and things that they've never been exposed to, right? If they've only heard their teacher ever speak in that language. It's letting them access a range of people from across the world and seeing how the language is actually used. For geography and science videos, being on location also really helps to provide those cultural context cues, can't speak today, which students can incorporate into their answers, right, in their video analysis. The last one, inclusivity. So students should be able to identify themselves in the people to whom they are listening to in the classroom. If all they hear are recordings that sound very professional and poised by older adults, right? They may not see themselves, they may not recognize what they're saying, but being able to watch videos with young people that they can see, oh, they're around my age, oh, they're talking about this, and I like that too. You know, it allows them to make those connections and feel a bit more involved in their learning. We probably all remember that, I do, in my classes, listening to those CDs where it sounded too perfect, right? And I was thinking, I'm never going to sound like that. I'm never going to be able to speak like that, which can be a bit discouraging. So we want to encourage students. We want them to be able to feel like they can do it, that they can express themselves, they can use critical thinking to explain their ideas, and they can see really how the language, how the subject terminology is being used in the real world by real people. And an interesting question, what happens if we don't use authentic resources in our classroom? Well, there's a real risk there, right? Because students are engaging in tasks just for task's sake, just for actually completing it. Something that I'm sure all of you are very familiar with as teachers. But what do we want to do? We want to push them above and beyond to reach their full potential. And providing them access to authentic videos is one of the ways that we can do that. So just for time, Jess, I'll pass it back to you.
Amazing. I genuinely think authenticity is one of those topics we could discuss for hours on end, because there are just so many avenues, so much impact that can be had. And I think it's really interesting touching on that idea of the cultural relevance. Also, we have a few teachers. We actually have a few case studies on our website if anyone hasn't checked those out yet. So on thisisschool.com, if you travel across to the more drop down and go down to case studies, we actually have a handful of teachers on there, and there's a really recurring theme of this idea of well, they don't sound Spanish. That's not the Spanish I understand. And actually being able to adapt and enhance that understanding of students that the accents do change and there are all these different variations, and that can get them really excited about the idea that actually there's so much world out there. There are so many people out there, and I think that can go a huge ways to getting people engaged, getting students engaged, especially in language subjects. So I'll include that actually in the follow-up email to this so everyone can take a look, because I think it's really interesting to kind of see that directly from a teacher as well.
Absolutely. Just to add in, because of what you're saying, I was just talking to a teacher who lives in a really rural small town yesterday, and she was saying, I think it's so great that my students are seeing examples of people across the world, because it takes them out of their little bubble just hearing me and broadens their scope. And I thought that is so true.
And that can be such a, yeah, it's just such a powerful part of having those real world speakers, isn't it? Is that idea that even in the backgrounds of a lot of our real world, especially our native speakers, the backgrounds have so many cultural clues in them and so many differences the students just don't always expect and don't always kind of consider when they approach language as a subject. They see it as, you know, very much the learning of a language, not the learning of a culture. And I think that's something that can be really powerful and can be really applied through This Is School, or at least that's what we hope.
Yeah.
Really quickly, we did have one question come through via email from someone who wasn't able to attend live, and that is the very popular question that we always get, which is how much does it cost? Naturally. So This Is School is a per student subscription model. So it completely depends on how many students you have within your classes who are looking to undertake subscriptions. So if anyone would like to explore that and would like more information directly about pricing, please email us on info@thisisschool.com, or when you submit your information for a trial, obviously that will be part of your discovery and your discussion as well, so we can make sure that that's very much part of that conversation. So with 1 minute left, let's see if I can do this. Is just a huge thank you to everyone for joining us. A huge thank you to Caitlin as well for taking us on that tour and showing us those parts of the platform. Apologies again, we weren't able to show the videos just due to time, but I will include those in my follow-up email so everyone can take a look at both languages, geography and sciences as examples of that authentic learning content. Please do head to thisisschool.com/trial and enter your details. If you use code WEB, we can just make sure that your discovery is very much focused on what we've been discussing today. We know obviously then you've got a bit of an understanding of what the platform looks like, etc. And we'll also be sending recording of this webinar to the email address you registered for this session with, so please do keep an eye out for that, and also take a look at thisisschool.com/webinars for other upcoming sessions that we have in the next couple of weeks. So that's everything from me. Thank you again for joining us. Have an amazing rest of your day, your evening, your week, and we hope to see you on This Is School very soon.
Thanks everyone. Bye.